Chapter 763. Yeah. Baya was quite calm. You found them quickly. The Marine survey team happened to be nearby. Now that we can recognize the faces, we should be able to find out who died. I'm very confident about this case. It shouldn't be too difficult, Joan said happily. Baya smiled. We'll see. Cheong's heart sank. You don't think so? Have you ever wondered why no one reported this to the police? Baya asked. Cheong was stunned. What? Let's confirm the victims' identities first. I'm going to eat now. Good luck. Baya hung up. She prepared the fish fillets, boiled the oil, stir-fried the pickled cabbage, put in the bones, stir-fried them, and added water. When the water boiled, she put in the fish fillets. In just 5 minutes, a bowl of fish with pickled cabbage was ready to be served. She turned off the fire. Gu Lingqing came in and said in a low voice, "Be careful, it's hot." "Let me do it. You go outside and wait for your meal." Baya was a little dazed. This scene seemed to have happened before. In her memory there was a man who said this to her. The man holding the hot food while she held the bowl and chopsticks. It was a warm and comfortable scene. But she felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. She couldn't think about it anymore. It wasn't a good sign. "Then I'll have to trouble you." She didn't stand on ceremony. She took 3 bowls and 3 pairs of chopsticks. Alan smiled. "Luckily I learned how to use chopsticks. Otherwise I'd have to use my hands. Tell me what you like to eat tomorrow. I'll go to the market and buy it for you," Baya said. "Let's go together tomorrow. When you go to work I'll see if there are any investment projects and find something to do." "Good idea. I'll bring the food out," Baya said. She went to the kitchen and scooped a big bowl of rice. She could eat as much as she wanted. Alan took a bite of the pork chop. "I've eaten so many pork chops, but yours is the best." Baya smiled. "If everything goes well today you'll be able to eat the fish I fry. It's even better." Gu Lingqing glanced at Alan. He didn't say anything and sat opposite Alan. "Did you receive the candy I sent you last time?" Alan asked Baya, looking like he was talking about everything. "Yes, I got it. It's a very special taste. It's salty and light, which suits my taste very well. People nowadays eat too much sweet stuff, which is not good for their health. When you're hungry or when your mouth has no taste, it's good to eat some salty candy. I came to the US to start a food business or open a coffee shop. As long as I have something to do, I will do it. My other businesses are already on the right track, and there are professionals to help me manage them." Alan thought. Alan. Besides, I have. Yeah. Alan, yeah. Besides, I have. Besides, Ilan. "Did you make any money?" Alan asked curiously. "It's all right. I've been running it for 3 months. So far, I haven't suffered any losses, but I haven't made much money either. However, there are quite a lot of returning customers. Maybe after a year, when there are more returning customers, I can make some money and spend it elsewhere," said Baya jokingly. "Then I'll just open a coffee shop and give you a lifetime supply." Baya nodded. "Sounds good." Gu Lingqing kept his head down as he ate. He listened to their conversation without saying a word. Baya noticed that she had neglected another guest. She smiled and asked, "Black, you've been transferred over to the investigation team. Are you still working at the research center?" "I'm in charge of the research center. You just have to do your job well. You don't have to go there every day. The investigation team has free time too," Black said. "When I went to the research center last time, I saw the chairman's office there. The dean specifically told me not to go there. Have you seen the chairman before?" Baya asked. "Yeah," replied Gu Lingqing. He didn't say anything else. He was an introverted and reserved man with a lot of things on his mind. Baya smiled. "Do you have a good relationship with the chairman?" "Yeah." Gu Lingqing replied again. He didn't dare to look at Baya. He was afraid that Baya would notice something. He lowered his eyes and looked calm. Baya didn't ask any more. She once said that there was a type of person that was hard to see through and hard to figure out. You might think that you could see him clearly, but in the blink of an eye, he didn't seem to be what you thought he was. He was too deep and unfathomable. She might as well not try to figure him out. She also wouldn't get too close to this type of person because she couldn't see him clearly. It was too dangerous. She ate. No one spoke. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. "How was the song I asked you to listen to last time?" Alan broke the silence and asked. "Yeah, I think it's quite high-end." "High-end?" "Yeah, it feels like I'm listening to a symphony in a royal palace. I like to listen to that kind of elegant, ethereal but also very calming sound of nature," Baya expressed correctly. "Then I'll make it up again next time. You can listen to it again," said Alan humbly. Yeah, don't forget to apply for a patent. It'll be specially placed in your cafe in the future. Sounds like a good choice. Mr. Gu, do you like music? Asked Alan. Mr. Gu? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. Gu Lingqing looked at her confused eyes. His eyes became even more unfathomable. There were too many hidden thoughts that gathered into an unknown universe. She had really forgotten about him. My surname is Gu, but you can just call me Black, Gu Lingqing said dejectedly. If you like to sing, the sound system here is not bad. You're welcome to sing together, said Baya with a smile. I can see that the decoration here is superb. If there's a chance, invite Black to come and sing together, said Alan while looking at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. He lowered his head and ate his food. Soon he finished one bowl and filled another bowl. Baya glanced at him. Black didn't like to talk. Silence was golden. Black, you used to be a soldier, right? Baya asked casually. Yeah, answered Gu Lingqing. You seem to be from the Special Forces, but you don't have the feeling of the American Special Forces. Are you from country A? Baya guessed. Gu Lingqing didn't answer. Baya felt that she was asking for a snub, so she didn't ask Black anymore. They were just colleagues in the future anyway. If they couldn't get along well, they could just leave. After a while, they finished their meal. You guys rest for a while. We'll leave after we tidy up, said Baya. Let me do the dishes, Black volunteered. She didn't expect Black, who was like a tough guy, to do the dishes. She felt an inexplicable warmth in her heart. You can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't measure the sea with a pail. A man of steel can also be very gentle. Chapter 764. Sorry to trouble you. Baya did not refuse. Do I have to throw away the unfinished food? Gu Lingqing asked. No need. I'll pack it up now. Some people will need it, Baya said and started packing. Gu Lingqing washed the dishes. She saw that his actions were quite skilled. She did not deliberately say anything and smiled. I'm going out for a while. I'll accompany you, Alan said and took the lunchbox from Baya's hands. Looks like you often give food to people who need it. You even have a lunchbox and disposable chopsticks ready. What I don't need is what others urgently need. That's the simplest thing I can do. It's just a small effort. Don't not do good because it's small, don't do evil because it's small. Giving makes people feel calm and comfortable, Baya explained. Alan looked at Baya. Her tone was elegant, intellectual, natural and unrestrained. It was as gentle as water and understanding. He was not willing to compromise. He would rather have nothing than have something substandard. Once he met Baya, it would ruin his life. If they could not love each other for a long time, he thought that he would never like anyone else in this life. When Baya arrived at the park, a group of homeless people naturally swarmed over. They all knew Baya. Baya distributed the food to them. Do you come here often? Alan asked. No, occasionally twice a week, Baya explained. I can invest in the security center to solve the problem of these homeless people, Alan suggested. Baya smiled. I bought a 2-story house near the clinic. I've modified it. There are only benches, a pool and air conditioning. It can accommodate 1,000 people who don't want to go home or are homeless every day. Alan looked at Baya in surprise. I hired a cleaner to clean every day. I don't care about anything else, Baya said. Baya said, I think it's pretty good this way. When you think about it, you give something. You don't have to treat giving as a responsibility. You can live casually, freely, Baya said. Don't they know it's your house? Alan said. I don't need them to know. I just need them to know that there's a place where they won't die of heat in summer, won't freeze to death in winter, and can walk around the park without starving to death. That's enough. Baya distributed the food and returned. Alan held her hand. I'll do these things with you in the future. Baya patted his hand as if they were old friends. Welcome. In a few days my senior will also come to America. I feel like my life is complete. Alan nodded. Let's move forward hand in hand. Let's go. Baya nodded and headed back home. When they were almost at the house, Alan remembered Gu Lingqing who was working in the kitchen. He asked tentatively, how do you feel about that Black? I don't feel anything. He's not an easy person to get along with. Silence is golden and he's hard to read. There are too many mysteries about him, but I don't want to know. I asked him to stay for dinner today because he's my colleague. He specially brought something over. From now on we'll only be colleagues, Baya said calmly. Alan was relieved. He smiled cheerfully. We'll go fishing later. Remember to apply sunscreen and moisturizer. The sun at sea is especially strong. If you're not careful, you'll get sunburned. Got it. Baya went back. Gu Lingqing had already finished washing the dishes. She was sitting on the sofa looking at her phone. When she saw them return, her gaze fell on their tightly clasped hands. A sharp glint flashed across her eyes as she glanced at Alan. Alan smiled. Let's go now. Black, did you drive here? You can all take my car. Let's go. Gu Lingqing walked outside. She bumped into Alan's shoulder on purpose. Alan did not stand still. He took a step back. Are you okay? Baya asked with concern. Alan shook his head. Your colleague is very strong. Baya frowned and glanced at Black. Gu Lingqing had already gone out. His temper doesn't seem too good. I suddenly regret taking his cruise. Baya shrugged. Then I'll buy a cruise tomorrow. We won't need to ask for help when we go out in the future, Alan said with a smile. I'll get a fishing rod, Baya said as she went upstairs. After a while she came down with a big bag and a big box. You have such a complete set of fishing tools? Alan was surprised. Of course. To do a good job, a worker must first sharpen his tools. If the tools are not good, how can we catch a big fish? I'll buy one next time. Alan took the water tank from Baya's hand. They went out. Gu Lingqing had already parked the car outside. Alan opened the trunk and put the things inside. Gu Lingqing said to Baya, sit in the front. Baya wanted to sit in the back. After all, Alan was her friend and Black was her colleague. However, Black had asked her to sit. It was not good for her to reject. She believed that Alan would not mind, so she sat in the front passenger seat. Gu Lingqing's expression turned a little better. She said to Baya, do you want to take a look at the case files? Okay. Baya responded and flipped through the documents that Black had placed on the shelf. Cheong said that the body that was just found is new. I think we should know the identity of the deceased tomorrow. What do you think is the reason why the deceased's family didn't report the case? Baya asked. There are too many possibilities. These people might not be from here, so they reported it. However, because it was not the same place, the cases could not be concentrated. It could also be that the whole family died, so no one reported it. There was a case in the past where more than 100 people in the village were all killed, so no one reported it, Gu Lingqing said. Are you talking about the Tangqian village case? Baya blurted out. Gu Lingqing looked at her. His eyes darkened. You've heard of this case too? Yes, I've been to Tangqian village. They mainly dug up a treasure there. Then, someone massacred the entire village in order to get the treasure, Baya said calmly. Do you know who massacred the village? Gu Lingqing continued to ask. Many scenes flashed through Baya's mind. Some of her memories were there, but some seemed to be blank. She did not want to think about it anymore. I don't know. The light in Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed again. Alan opened the car door. He glanced at Gu Lingqing and sat in the back seat. Gu Lingqing drove. No one spoke along the way. Baya was a little tired from reading the files. She leaned against the seat and closed her eyes to sleep. Gu Lingqing saw that she had fallen asleep, so he adjusted the position of the air vent so that it would not blow at her. Alan frowned slightly and looked out of the window. Time ticked by. Seattle was a coastal city. After driving for a few minutes, they arrived at the pier. Gu Lingqing stopped the car. Baya opened her eyes and got out of the car. Chapter 765. Little White. Baya blurted out. There was a dog like that in her memory too. It was also on the boat and had a good relationship with her. She was a little confused as to whether its name was Little White. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. Baya smiled awkwardly and explained, what I mean is, its whole body is white, it's very strong and it's very cute. Its name is Little White, Gu Lingqing said. On the boat. He stroked the dog's head. As he stroked the dog's head, his expression became much gentler, and his gaze became much less sharp. Baya's gaze also softened. She had thought about raising a dog in the past, but sometimes she had to go on a business trip, so she was worried that the dog would starve. Now that Alan was coming over, he had asthma, so it wasn't good for him to raise a dog. It usually stays on the boat? Baya asked. Yes, it likes to stay on the bed. This is its world, Gu Lingqing said gently as he stroked Little White's head. Baya squatted down too. Little White immediately rushed in front of her, wagging its tail happily. Baya liked this dog from the bottom of her heart. She stroked the dog's head and the dog lay on the ground. Baya's heart softened even more. Why was this dog so cute? She liked it so much. Little White, Baya called. It immediately stood up and stuck out its tongue with a smile on its face. Do you have dog food? I want to feed it, Baya said gently. Yes. Gu Lingqing took a bowl over. Little White saw that Gu Lingqing had a dog bowl, so it ran towards Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing passed the dog bowl to Baya. Baya took the dog bowl and put it on the ground. The dog immediately came to eat. Do you have water? You have to feed the dog more water in the summer, Baya said. Gu Lingqing went back to get Little White's special water bottle and passed it to Baya. Baya fed Little White water, but Little White refused to eat it and continued to eat dog food. How long has it been since you last fed it? It looks very hungry, Baya complained. I fed it once in the morning and again in the evening, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya looked at him in surprise. Do you usually stay on the ship? Gu Lingqing answered. What if you go on a business trip? What will happen to Little Bai? Baya was worried. I know all the fishermen here. They will help me take care of Little White. Little White knows them too and they get along well, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya patted the dog's head. Xiao Bai is the best. Alan watched their interaction. He knew this ship. It belonged to Baya. He didn't expect that Gu Lingqing had been living on this ship. When are we leaving? Alan asked. Wait for a while. I asked someone to buy some things. We will arrive in about 3 minutes, Gu Lingqing said. All right, Alan replied in a good mood. He went to the roof. As expected, it was exactly the same as what Baya did in the past. Nothing changed. He felt a little uncomfortable. He slept on the deck chair enjoying the sea breeze. After a while, Gu Lingqing's people came and bought a lot of things. Fishing bait, vegetables, meat, fruits, coffee and the like. After Gu Lingqing's people came, Gu Lingqing went to the control room and drove the ship out. After confirming the latitude and longitude, he let the ship sail on its own. He cut half a watermelon, cut it into small pieces and placed them on a plate. Then he added plums, pears and oranges. He made 2 large plates and brought them out. He looked for Baya. She was still playing with Little White. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. His resolute expression softened a lot. Come to the roof. It's time to eat some fruit, Gu Lingqing shouted and carried the fruit to the roof. Alan was enjoying the wind. Gu Lingqing put the fruit plate in front of him. Thank you, Alan said. Gu Lingqing put the other plate on the bar next to him and sat down on the sofa. He looked at the sea in the distance and didn't say anything. Alan chuckled. Gu Lingqing looked at Alan. I think we're the friendliest rivals in love, right? Alan said with a smile. She treats you as a friend. So, even if you're my rival in love, there's no need to be unfriendly to you. You're always by her side to help her when she's in the most difficult situation. I know that. Thank you, Gu Lingqing said calmly. Alan shrugged. Gu Lingqing was flattering him too much. He didn't know what to say. Are you really going to stay in America? If she doesn't choose you, you'll be very sad, right? Gu Lingqing said again. You came all the way to find her. If she doesn't choose you, will you feel sad? Alan asked. No matter where she is, I'll be by her side. I won't force her to make a choice. Gu Lingqing looked into the distance and said. Me too. Whether she chooses me or not, I'll stay by her side. I have 2 children with her. The children need her, Gu Lingqing said lightly. But she chose to let it go. She's a very strong person. She was fearless even when facing terrorists. A girl like that chose to forget. I think the damage you brought to her is enough to make her forget me completely. My advantage is actually greater than yours, Alan said with a smile. Gu Lingqing pursed his lips and didn't say anything. His eyes dimmed and turned into a black hole. It carried too much and people couldn't see it clearly. Baya came up with a smile and said to Gu Lingqing, I like your little dog very much. It's very obedient. When you call it, it will come immediately and it can even do somersaults. It's very cute. If you shoot at it, it will fall down. But what it's best at is buying things. Sometimes I dress it and hang a bag around its neck. I put money in the bag and let it buy things. It can buy things for you? Baya felt that it was magical. Yes, there's a vegetable market nearby. Many farmers buy vegetables there and they all know it, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya smiled. If she couldn't find the person she wanted to spend the rest of her life with when she was old, she would raise a dog to accompany her until she was old. She wouldn't be lonely then. Dogs were man's best friends and were very loyal to their owners. She lay down on the chair and enjoyed the sea breeze. When the sea breeze blew past her cheeks, it felt very comfortable and relaxing. I used to live on a deserted island, Baya suddenly said. Gu Lingqing was slightly stunned. He looked at her and waited for her to continue. Baya closed her eyes and smiled slightly. I remember there were a lot of crabs on the island. But the crabs are very fast. Many of them will drill into the sand and some will run into the sea. With a fishing net, you can catch a lot of crabs every day. What about winter? The sea is too cold. Do you still go into the sea? Alan asked. Chapter 766. Haha. Alan laughed. Do you still remember when we first met? We went to a deserted island. You really like the life on a deserted island. Some people work hard for their entire lives just so that they can enjoy a leisurely life in the last few years. Some people enjoy a leisurely life for their entire lives. Although they don't have much money, they can still smile at the clouds and feel at ease. This feeling is not bad. What's important is the state of mind. I have a few friends who often go to the wild to survive. It's quite interesting. Next time I'll bring you along? Gu Lingqing said. Baya opened her eyes and nodded thoughtfully. Sounds good. You can call me next time. I'll check if I'm free. Gu Lingqing smiled. All right. Baya looked at his cold face and actually smiled. His smile looked quite good according to her taste. It's good to smile more, Baya said. Gu Lingqing stopped smiling and averted his eyes with a strange expression on his face. Baya didn't mind. She leaned on the railing and looked at the sea. Where are we going to fish? Alan asked. We'll sail for an hour. We'll go to a deeper part of the sea. It's too close to the shore and it'll be hard to catch fish. The fish in the deep sea are clean too. We can eat them without processing them. They're especially delicious, Baya said. Okay, Alan replied. The boat sailed for more than an hour before stopping. It floated freely on the sea. Baya went fishing professionally. Alan watched Baya do it and followed her instructions. Gu Lingqing didn't do it like them. He scattered some feed in the net and scattered it. Can you catch fish like that? Alan asked curiously. Sometimes I can't catch them, but if I keep it up, I'll catch them eventually, Gu Lingqing said. Alan nodded and didn't say anything else. Fishing was a technical job. It also required a lot of patience. He stared at the fish mark on the surface of the sea. If the wind was too strong, it would affect his judgment. As time ticked by, Alan didn't catch any fish even after several attempts. Gu Lingqing unhurriedly went to his room to rest. Half an hour later, Baya caught a small fish that was only a few centimeters long. Little White ran over to take a look and then ran away in disgust. Baya continued fishing. I think we might be fishing for the whole afternoon and not even get dinner, Alan said with a smile. Fishing on the sea is like that. But if you catch something, you can have a delicious meal. Fishing is the mood of fishing. The process of fishing is also pleasant, peaceful and cheerful. That's good, said Baya, who wasn't discouraged. Sounds very knowledgeable. Baya suddenly stood up and said happily, I got it. The fish took the bait. Alan also stood up and looked at the sea. He did not see anything. What fish did you catch? Baya hurriedly shook the joystick. Alan saw that he had caught a fish. The fish was quite big. It was about 20 centimeters long. Baya caught the fish. What fish is this? Asked Alan, puzzled. It seems to be codfish. This kind of fish dies easily. It dies as soon as it goes out to sea. Let me deal with it first. We can eat the most delicious fish immediately, said Baya happily. Yeah, I want to eat it now, said Alan. Baya took the fish to the kitchen. She washed it quickly and cut it into pieces. She did not want the fish head. She directly put the fish into the pan and grilled it. She did not control the temperature of the oil well, so the oil flowed out and fell on the back of her hand. She snorted and retracted her hand. When she was about to wipe off the oil, Gu Lingqing walked over and held her hand lovingly. How do you take care of yourself? Baya looked at Gu Lingqing. He went forward and turned the fire to a small flame. He used a napkin to wipe the oil on her hand and turned on the tap. He held her hand and rinsed it. His expression was cold and focused. Baya looked at his resolute side profile. There was a strange feeling in her heart. She explained, this bit of oil is okay. People who cook often get splashed with oil. It will be fine after a while. Gu Lingqing frowned. Go fishing. Leave the rest to me. Do you know how to do the rest? Baya was curious. Yes. Gu Lingqing said a simple word and began to fry the codfish. She really felt that he was like a man of mystery. He seemed not perfect, but after interacting with him, she realized that he was quite perfect. This fish is very tender. You don't need to fry it for too long. You don't need to add any seasoning either. It's delicious as it is. If you think it has a strong fishy smell, you can add some pepper or drizzle some lemon juice, suggested Baya. Yeah. Gu Lingqing replied. Do you want to wrap it with breadcrumbs? Do you have breadcrumbs? Baya was curious. I got someone to buy it for me just now. There are more codfish in this area. It's easy to catch them. This fish has very tender meat and is very suitable for making fish steak. So, I got someone to buy it. Gu Lingqing explained. She realized that he was a meticulous and considerate person. Can I use some? Baya asked. There's cheese and butter in the fridge. If you fry it with butter, the oil won't spill. You can just use butter in the future. Gu Lingqing continued. Okay. Baiya replied. She made the wrapping first. In order to get rid of the fishy smell, she mixed some egg powder and added some spices. The fish was rolled in the egg powder and wrapped with breadcrumbs. Then it could be put into the pan to continue frying. After a while, the fish was done frying. Gu Lingqing put it on a plate and said to Baiya, "Don't be in a hurry to eat it. It's very hot now. Let it cool down for a while before you eat it. It won't affect the taste. It's okay if you don't catch any more fish. I've asked someone to buy steak and spaghetti. You can eat that." "Do you think I can't catch any fish?" Baiya said with a smile. She was an expert at fishing. "I'm just in case. If the sea is very stormy, I can't catch any fish. I'll continue frying. You can come over in 5 minutes. Bring Alan with you," Gu Lingqing said. "Okay. Thank you," Baiya said sincerely. She smiled brightly and turned to look for Alan. Gu Lingqing's eyes dimmed. His heart was heavy. There was an indescribable bitterness in his heart. He continued to fry the fish. Outside there was a strange sound of a horn. It sounded very strange. He turned off the fire and walked to the back of the boat. There was a cruise ship behind them that was slightly bigger than theirs. There were many people in white clothes on it. There were many people, and they all stood together in an orderly manner. Suddenly, a person in white jumped off the ship. Gu Lingqing saw that the people on the ship were looking at the sea indifferently. Seeing that the person was about to sink, he didn't have time to think. He threw the lifebuoy on the ship into the sea. Chapter 767. Baiya heard the sound of the water entering the water. She quickly went to the stern and saw Black swimming toward the drowning man. A few scenes flashed in her memory. She seemed to have fallen into the sea as well, and there was also a person swimming toward her. Her soul seemed to be shaken and she felt dizzy for a few seconds. "Xiaoya," Alan shouted. Baiya came back to her senses and looked at the sea. Black could no longer see. Panic flashed in her eyes. "Where is he?" He went to the bottom of the sea. "See if there's a lifeboat on the bed and put it down," Alan said. "There should be one on the side of the ship." Baiya ran to the side and saw a small lifeboat. She immediately lowered the lifeboat. In the sea, people's ability to discern sound was very low, but their ability to discern light was higher. Baiya immediately turned on the flashlight on her phone and shone it into the sea. Black did not come up. Baiya panicked and shouted at the sponge, Black, no, I'm going down to see what's going on." "Xiaoya." Alan wanted to stop Baiya, but before he could, Baiya jumped into the sea. In the sea, her eyes were so piercing that she could not open them at all. She could not see what was in the sea. She emerged from the sponge, took a deep breath, and sank down again. She endured the piercing pain and opened her eyes wide. She could only hear the gurgling sound of the water, but she could not see anyone. Suddenly, her feet were entangled by something. Baiya turned around in surprise. It was a person in white. She was shocked and wanted to kick the person away. But he pulled her down. Suddenly, someone pulled her hand. She was relieved when she saw that it was Black. Gu Lingqing pulled the white man's hand away and kicked him away. He pulled Baiya upstream. The chi in her body was decreasing, and bubbles came out of her nostrils. From the corner of her eyes, she saw a few people in white rushing toward her. Gu Lingqing turned her face and kissed her lips. He transferred some of his chi to her and pushed hard. Baiya dashed towards the surface of the sea. She turned back to look at Gu Lingqing, who had stayed behind to block those men in white. However, there were too many people in white. It was as if they had come from hell and wanted to drag them there. She came out of the sea, took a deep breath, picked up the oars on the lifeboat and went back into the water. Black was surrounded by the people in white. She threw the oar over, and those people subconsciously stepped aside. Gu Lingqing took the opportunity to rush up to the surface of the sea. Worried that she would be a burden, she immediately climbed onto the lifeboat and shouted to Alan, "Pass me the kitchen knife." Alan was puzzled. He didn't know what was going on under the river. "Hurry up," urged Baiya. 2. Alan hurriedly went to the kitchen to get a kitchen knife and passed it to Baiya. Gu Lingqing came out from the bottom of the sea and took a deep breath. The people in white followed closely. There were 12 of them in total. They surrounded Gu Lingqing. "Who are you? What do you want?" Baiya said sternly. "You're too nosy. It's your bad luck to run into us," one of the people in white said fiercely. "Kill them all." "Alan, there's a gun under my pillow. Go get it now," Gu Lingqing said sternly. "Okay." Alan realized the severity of the situation and quickly went to get the gun. Those people exchanged glances and rushed towards Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing swam towards the bottom of the sea vigilantly. Those people followed her. Baya was worried that Gu Lingqing couldn't handle so many people alone. Without thinking, she jumped off the boat. Gu Lingqing saw Baya coming over from the corner of her eyes. She was afraid that she wasn't breathing, so she didn't dare to swim deeper. Those people rushed forward, trying to restrain Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing dodged. He was worried about Baya, but he couldn't swim towards Baya, so he was distracted. Someone grabbed his arm, and a group of people rushed forward, entangling him and making him sink. Baya rushed over and slashed at the person's arm without hesitation. These people were all mad demons. It was either you die or I die. She didn't need to show any mercy. That person's hand was bleeding. When he saw Baya, his eyes widened. He let go of Gu Lingqing and rushed towards Baya. Panic flashed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. He was not afraid of dying, but he was afraid of her dying. He used brute force and broke free. He grabbed the foot of the person who was chasing Baya. Baya couldn't hold it anymore. She rushed out of the sponge and took a deep breath. Xiaoya. Alan threw 2 empty words at Baya. Baya grabbed it and saw people coming out of the water to breathe. They saw Baya and swam towards Baya. Alan fired immediately. Bang. The sound of a gunshot shocked the man in white. Baya quickly returned to the sea. When he saw Gu Lingqing, who was still entangled, he swam towards him. Gu Lingqing's breath was almost exhausted. He swam towards the surface with all his strength. Baya swam to his side and handed the Sprite bottle and the knife to Gu Lingqing. The others found Baya and wanted to catch Baya. Baya waved the knife, and those people couldn't get close to her. Gu Lingqing used the knife to cut off the people who entangled him. He split the bottle cap and quickly blocked the hole. He took a deep breath and threw the Sprite bottle away. He grabbed Baya's hand and swam towards the sponge. The person in white chased after them relentlessly. Gu Lingqing and Baya swam to the surface and took deep breaths. The person in white also came out. Alan fired and said to Baya and Gu Lingqing, "Get on the boat." Gu Lingqing let Baya go first. There were tires hanging on the side of the boat. He could pull the tires and climb up. When he came up again, he went towards the control room without hesitation. Little White was frightened and kept screaming towards the sea. Gu Lingqing turned on the acceleration system and went back to the shore. He called the police station. Baya saw the person in white also climbed onto the boat. She took many pictures with her phone. After the person in white climbed onto the boat, he still chased after them. However, Gu Lingqing's boat was much faster. Baya was relieved. She went to the control room and asked, "Do you know who they are?" "I don't know, but judging from their behavior, they should be from a cult. Their ages range from 10 to 30. They're not friendly to people and they want to kill. I've already called Xiong and asked him to send the nearby police to hide by the beach. I'll try to slow down so that they can catch up," Gu Lingqing said sharply. Baya looked behind the boat. Those people were indeed still following them. "Can you surf the internet on the boat?" "No, you can use my cell phone. You can use the global unlimited data." Gu Lingqing handed his cell phone to her. "No need." Baya didn't take her phone. She guessed that AI Wei was sleeping. She didn't call him. Instead, she texted AI Wei. "AI Wei, I'll send you some pictures later. When you wake up, find out the most detailed information and send it to my email." Chapter 768. Baya bumped into his arms and was startled. She could smell the scent of the sea on his body. Her heart was beating fast for no reason. He was clearly not her type. Why was she so flustered? "You're injured," Gu Lingqing said, feeling sorry for her. "Oh, I'm fine. Maybe I accidentally cut myself when I was flying around with the knife," Baya explained. "There are parasites and bacteria in the sea. We have to deal with them. It's not good to talk. Come with me." Gu Lingqing pulled Baya to the kitchen. He wanted her to rinse with clean water. He brought the first aid kit over, dipped a cotton ball in the disinfectant and cleaned her wound. Alan walked over and asked worriedly, "Are you hurt?" "It's just a small injury." "I'm fine," Baya said and looked at Gu Lingqing. He applied medicine on her wound and wrapped it with gauze 3 times. "It's best not to touch water. It'll be fine after the scar forms." Baya could feel the deep concern in his eyes. It didn't seem fake. She was a little confused and didn't say anything. "Xiaoya, let me take a look." Alan held Baya's hand. Gu Lingqing's expression changed. She lowered her head and packed her things. She put them on the fridge and looked at Alan unhappily. "You're not a doctor. What's the use of looking at it?" Alan was speechless. "Black, they don't seem to be following us," Baya said, looking at the ship behind. Gu Lingqing also looked at the ship behind. They were obviously heading west. Gu Lingqing immediately made a call. "Qiong, it's Black. Those people in white aren't coming after us anymore. However, one of them did jump into the sea. He didn't come back up. Okay, that's fine. Gu Lingqing hung up. Baya asked, what did he say? He asked us to follow them. He asked for backup. Those people in white should be involved in other cases, Gu Lingqing said. I'm going to the control room now. Don't get too close. They're vicious, Alan reminded. You'd better go to the lounge and close the curtains in case they have guns, Gu Lingqing reminded. He went to the control room and stopped the autopilot. He sent the location to Qiong and followed the ship manually. Baya and Alan went to the lounge and closed the curtains. She called Shin. Tell me, what's going on with those people in white and what's their background? This organization only appeared this year, but ever since it appeared, fishermen have been picking up the corpses of these people in white almost every month. I don't know what they do, but it's a very bad influence. I just went to the database and counted. This year, 6 people in white have died, Shin replied. Didn't you contact their families to find out what happened? Baya asked. Yes, but the answer I got was that the parents of the deceased didn't know what happened. All the deceased drowned. There was no struggle, no fighting, and no suicide note. It was more like natural drowning, so the case was left uninvestigated. They're all wearing white. Isn't that abnormal? Forget it, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have a rough idea of the situation. Let's talk about it after we catch them, Baya said and hung up the phone. She found that the boat seemed to be turning around and was puzzled. She called Gu Lingqing. Black, what's wrong? Are they coming after us again? No, there's another big ship coming. It doesn't look like it's official. Maybe it's their support. Besides, there should be weapons on the ship. We have to go now, Gu Lingqing said vigilantly. Okay. There are life vests under the sofa. You and Alan put them on, Gu Lingqing said seriously. What about you? Baya asked worriedly. They are in the cockpit. Remember, don't come out unless it's absolutely necessary. If you hear gunshots, lie on the ground. The sofa is made of titanium alloy. It's bulletproof, Gu Lingqing said. Baya realized the seriousness of the matter. She lifted the curtain a little and looked outside. There was really a big ship chasing them. Suddenly, Gu Lingqing turned the steering wheel, and Baya fell to the ground. With a bang, the cannon landed beside the ship, causing a huge splash. The ship shook violently. With another bang, it landed in front of the ship. The ship seemed to be turning over. Xiaoya, are you okay? Alan fell beside Baya. I'm fine, Alan. Are you okay? Remember to take deep breaths and keep your breathing balanced. Don't be nervous, Baya comforted Alan. If he had asthma, it would be more serious. I'm fine. Alan held Baya's hand and took a deep breath. Baya found that his hands were sticky and sweaty. She said, We are half an hour away from the shore. Qiong has already contacted someone. Even if the ship capsizes, we will be fine with life vests. It will take some time before they come down to catch us. We have a high chance of being rescued. Alan smiled. Normally, he would be anxious when something like this happened. He was worried that he would never see her again, which made him even more anxious. Once he was anxious, coupled with the bad environment, his asthma would act up. But now that she was here, he was still calm. At least he didn't want her to worry. I suddenly thought of a saying. Life and death are bound together. Alan said, If we can go back safely this time, Xiaoya, let me take care of you for the rest of your life, okay? Baya smiled. Will you take care of me for the rest of my life, or will I take care of you for the rest of my life? You will take care of me for the rest of my life, Alan said with a smile, looking at her with a burning gaze. Alan, even as a friend, I will take care of you for the rest of your life. As long as you need me, I will be by your side, Baya said with certainty. What if I want to be more than a friend? Alan asked with a smile. I want to be single for a few more years. If you are waiting for me, don't wait for me, Baya said seriously. Alan's eyes were filled with disappointment. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Okay. Baya held Alan's hand. It felt like she was holding her own hand. It didn't feel much. However, when Black held her hand just now, she felt a little flustered. Was it because she liked Black? Bang. Another thud landed behind the ship, pulling Baya back from her thoughts. She had a feeling that their ship seemed to have slowed down. Another bang came from outside, but it wasn't around their ship. It sounded like it was far away. She got up and opened the curtains a little. She saw 2 big ships coming towards them. There was an American flag on the ships. They should be official ships. Baya called Black. He didn't pick up. She had a bad feeling. Could something have happened to Black? She didn't have time to think and ran outside. Chapter 769. The windows in the control room were all broken. Many of the glass shards pierced into Gu Lingqing's body. He was covered in blood and so was the floor. He must have been injured when the first shell hit him. He had been holding on. In the end, he had switched the system to auto-homing mode before he fainted. Baya felt a pain in his heart. Although this man was not good with words, did not like to talk and was cold to others, he was quite responsible. Little White was in the control room too. Its master was injured and it was whimpering. Baya didn't hesitate. He ran to the back and picked up the first aid kit on the fridge. Xiaoya, what's wrong with Black? Alan asked worriedly. He's severely injured. I'm going to treat him now. Come and help me, Baya said and ran to the control room. 3 hours later, Gu Lingqing woke up. The scene on the sea flashed across his mind. He sat up in a panic. Baya. Baya heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that he had woken up. The doctor did a full body checkup. Fortunately, your head wasn't injured. It's just that you have too many wounds all over your body and you've lost too much blood. You need to nourish yourself. Are you injured? Gu Lingqing asked worriedly. Baya shook his head. When you were on your way back, our warship came over and captured all of them. Qiong is interrogating them now. He heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the warship. It's good that you're not injured. Baya slightly raised a smile. This man had fainted due to excessive blood loss. The first person he cared about was someone else. Don't stay on the ship for now. It's too far and it's inconvenient for you to go to work. Also, we don't know if the White Sect has any accomplices. If you sleep on the ship, they might take revenge on you. You should stay at my place first. It's convenient for you to go to work and also for you to recuperate. My friend has asthma and Little White's fur and smell aren't good for him. So, I'll build a kennel in the garden and Little White can sleep there. Is that okay? Baya explained in detail. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. His gaze softened and he asked in a strange tone, do you often invite people to stay at your place? Baya also felt that it was a little abrupt to invite him, but after all, they were friends in adversity this time and could be trusted. He protected them and she also wanted to do something within her power. She did not want to owe others a favor. Not often but occasionally. If it's inconvenient for you, you can choose a hotel. And I'll pay for it, Baya said generously. I like your place. It's quiet, Gu Lingqing said. Baya smiled. You should rest first. I don't have time to cook today. I'll go out and buy some food for you. It's just a flesh wound. I don't need to lie in the hospital. I don't like the environment in the hospital. I'll go with you, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Although it's a flesh wound, it's not good to have a fever after infection. Actually, I've been a doctor before. If you trust me, I'll prepare all the medicine and put you on a drip at home. Is that okay? Baya asked. Okay. Gu Lingqing stood up. There were probably more than 10 wounds on his body. When he moved, he could feel the burning pain all over his body. There are countless small wounds on your body and 12 big ones. Actually, it's best to rest in bed for 3 days. Wait for the scabs to form before moving, Baya suggested. I'm a man. No matter how big the wound is, it won't be more than 3 centimeters. Let's go, Gu Lingqing said. Wait for me for 10 minutes. I'll go get the medicine. Okay. After Baya went out, Gu Lingqing looked around. Alan wasn't there. Alan's asthma was very serious. The environment in the hospital wasn't very good. It wasn't suitable for him to come over. However, because of this incident, he could stay in Xiaoya's house. Was God helping him? Soon, Baya came over with a big plastic bag. Let's go. Baya brought him home first. Alan was there. Seeing Gu Lingqing coming over, he was slightly stunned and then smiled. He said to Baya, I went to a restaurant opened by Country A to buy some food. It's in the kitchen now. Thank you, Alan. You're so thoughtful. I'm sorry for today. I wanted to bring you out to play, but I didn't expect you to worry, Baya said politely. I think it's good. Being able to experience something like this with you will be an unforgettable memory for the rest of my life, Alan said with a smile and looked at Gu Lingqing. Black, take a seat first. I'll go to the kitchen to heat up the food and bring it out, Alan said again. No need. Leave this to me, Baya said. She went to the kitchen and saw familiar dishes from Country A. Braised pork with preserved vegetables, white gourd spare ribs, sweet and sour sea bass, green pepper beef tenderloin and shredded carrots. It was easy for her to heat up the food. Alan, are you used to these dishes? Baya asked. Yeah, not bad, Alan said with a smile. Baya thought for a while. There were some fruits and tomatoes in the fridge. There was also the frozen steak that she bought a long time ago. She took it out and made a simple fruit and vegetable salad and a portion of steak. The steak was cut into long strips and fried so that everyone could eat it. These 2 dishes were more suitable for Alan's taste. Half an hour later, everything was ready and she brought it out. she realized one thing. Alan had a high EQ and was good with words. Moreover, he always thought from the perspective of others when he did things. As for Gu Lingqing, she was cold by nature and didn't like to talk, but she was indeed hot-blooded. The two of them sat together peacefully and harmoniously. "Time to eat," she said to them. "Black, you're injured. Take a seat first. I'll help Xiaoyu bring the dishes." Alan followed Baya into the kitchen. "You want him to stay here forever?" Alan asked casually. "At least after he recovers and before the white sex matter is completely resolved, he can't go on the ship. This happened to him because we're going out to sea. So, he can stay as long as he wants. Anyway, my room is big and spacious. It won't be a problem for more than 10 people to stay here," Baya explained. "But he's a man," Alan said softly. Baya looked at him, amused. "You're not. That's not what I mean. I'm just afraid that people will gossip and affect your reputation." "Heh," Baya chuckled. "It's because people care too much about what others think of them that they'll worry about nothing and put pressure on themselves. But for me, I care more about what I think. Besides, what do other people have to do with me? What other people think has nothing to do with me. The innocent will know their innocence. As long as one is honest and has a clear conscience, that's good enough." Baya patted Alan's shoulder. Alan smiled. "That makes sense. This is indeed psychology." After Baya left, Alan's smile disappeared. Chapter 770. After the meal, Baya arranged a room for Gu Lingqing on the first floor. Little White was placed in the garden. I left in a hurry and didn't bring your clothes. Did you get someone to send you clothes?" Baya asked Gu Lingqing. "I'll get someone to send it over," Gu Lingqing said. "All right, you can rest at home. I'll go to the pet shop to buy a nest for Little White." "I'll go with you," Alan said with a smile. Baya nodded. "That's a good idea. We still have to go to the supermarket later. There should be a lot of things to buy." Gu Lingqing frowned. He watched them leave and made a call. "Zhang Xingyu, send my clothes to Baya." "Sir, you're staying at Madame's house?" Zhang Xingyu was surprised. "It's an accident. Don't let her see it. Also, send Ellie's clothes overseas. I guarantee she won't come back," Gu Lingqing ordered. "Yes, sir." "You can do it," Zhang Xingyu cheered for Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He wanted to cheer for her too. He had a lot to say to her, but he couldn't say a word to her. Baya had changed. She was more cheerful, lively and carefree than before. She was so carefree that he didn't want to disturb her life. But he couldn't help but want to get closer to her. On the road, Baya was driving while playing beautiful light music. Alan looked at her. He wanted to say something but stopped himself. Baya smiled. "Just say what you want. You're not a hesitant person. Actually, I've always liked you. From the first time I met you until now, although I've backed out, I've never given up on my feelings for you. Can you give me a chance to start with me?" Alan said. Baya continued to drive calmly. "Alan, you're a perfect person without a single flaw. You have a high EQ, high IQ, open-minded, noble background and status. You're at the top of the pyramid. Think about it, what will happen after we get married?" "Huh?" Alan was deep in thought. His mind was indeed blank. He was a little flustered. Baya smiled and glanced at him. "Have you never thought about our future together?" "I think so. You just think that I'm suitable for you. You're a perfect person and you've been searching for perfection. However, living with someone who's too rational is no different from living on your own. Not only can I live my own life, but I can also live freely and care freely," Baya explained. "Isn't being plain the most realistic? Think about it again. Other than having sex as a husband and wife, our lives are no different from now. As we grow older and spend too much time together, our passion will fade. Many couples want to be together for a long time. They might not even have sex for 10 or 20 years, Baya explained. Alan remained silent and didn't say anything else. He was very indifferent towards sex. He hadn't had sex with a woman for a few years. He didn't want to and felt that it was boring. "I think you just admire me and think that I'm a good person. However, you don't like me," Baya said rationally. "I might not have the ability to love anyone," Alan said thoughtfully. "That's because you haven't met someone that you're jealous of. Sometimes, love is irrational. When you meet the person that makes you irrational, then you'll be right. You and I will be best friends for life. If we can live together for the rest of our lives, we'll be happy." "What about Gu Lingqing?" Alan asked. "Gu Lingqing?" Baya frowned. There seemed to be no such person in her memory. However, when she said the name of this person, she felt a faint pain in her heart. "What?" Alan corrected the name. Baya didn't go on. She frowned and took a deep breath. "I'm jealous. Alan's heart was astringent. His eyes narrowed and he said very seriously. Baya stopped the car on the side of the road and looked at him. Alan's chest heaved up and down. His eyes locked on Baya deeply. He had never given her pressure. He was afraid that because of these pressures she would stay away from him. However, it seemed that there was an insurmountable gap between him and her. I like you, not only because of appreciation. Since I met you I can't see other women. As long as you need me I can do anything for you, even my life. Alan made a strong confession. When you're with me there's no thrilling, no love-hate, no spectacular, but what I can give you is understanding and tolerance. I can be your unscrupulous support. I can spoil you, love you, respect you and help you do whatever you want. Listening to Alan's confession, Baya was moved. He was such a perfect person. If she didn't accept him she would be spoiled. However, she completely appreciated Alan. If he liked other women she would give her blessings. No heartbeat, no love. Alan, I don't want to lose such a good friend as you. When I think of you I feel warm in my heart. I think this warmth is more precious than love. But if you are with another man, how can I stay with you as a good friend? Will you still let me stay with you? Baya didn't speak. Human nature was actually there. Once she had a boyfriend and Alan appeared by her side like this, it would hurt Alan and her boyfriend. I think the only way I can keep you in the open is to be your boyfriend. I don't dare to think about our future because I don't want to give you pressure. Because I know what kind of past you have, Alan confessed. Baya's heart ached and her eyes turned red. She didn't dare to touch the past. This was what she had warned herself before. In fact, she knew very well that if she hadn't been forced to the extreme, she wouldn't have been able to hypnotize herself. As long as she thought of a little shadow of the past, her heart would still hurt for no reason. Alan, I don't have many friends. The only friends who can really enter my heart are you and Lu Shuang. I'm afraid that after we start dating, we will never see each other again. I don't have the confidence to go on with you and I'm afraid of losing you. Let's stay like this forever, okay? Baya said softly. It was so soft that he couldn't bear to force her anymore. I won't leave you, never. Even if you don't choose me in the end, I won't leave you, Alan promised. Baya turned around and hugged Alan. She closed her eyes and tears flowed out. She didn't know why, but she just felt sad. It was a gift from the heavens to have a bosom friend in life. Alan treated her so well that even if she rejected him, she would feel wronged for him, unworthy and heartbroken. Alan, let's try dating, Baya said softly. Chapter 771. Baya went to the pet shop to buy a kennel, and Alan carefully helped her choose. Baya looked at Alan's handsome side profile. He had a good temper. He knew what she wanted to do and always did what she wanted. However, since she had already agreed to go out with him, she shouldn't get involved with Black anymore. Black was injured because of us. It's dangerous for him to return to the ship. When he recovers, I'll give him a hint to leave. Alan smiled and turned to look at her. I trust you. We are both responsible for his injury. I'll take care of him with you. Alan, you know me the best in the world, Baya sighed. Alan smiled. You're going to the supermarket to buy some men's products, right? I saw that you don't have any men's products. Baya smiled. I think we don't need to talk anymore. We can communicate with just a look. Let's go to the supermarket now. Baya's phone rang. She saw that it was Jones and immediately picked it up. Baya, I think you need to come. These kids seem to be crazy. They insist that the people who died jumped into the sea on their own. But it's true that they're trying to kill me, Black, and my friend. Also, the law here doesn't allow the selfish installation of cannons on the ship. They fired at least 3 cannons at us. But they said that their boss told them to do it. When I asked who their boss was, they all said it was the governor. No matter what, we can't get them to talk. Come and take a look. This incident is causing a lot of commotion. It's not good for the governor's reputation. The families of these kids are here too. They're blocking the door and causing a lot of trouble, Jones said helplessly. I understand. I'll come to the police station now. Baya hung up and looked at Alan. Go. Leave the shopping to me. I'll take good care of your colleagues too, Alan said gently. Baya really felt that it was very easy to be with Alan. Although there was no feeling of love, she would not feel tired after being with him for a lifetime. Thanks. I'll leave the car to you. There are a lot of things. I can take a taxi there, Baya said and walked to the roadside. Call me when it's almost over. I'll pick you up. I'll be worried if you're alone at night, Alan said in a deep voice. After I'm done, the police will send me back. Don't worry, I'll go first. Be careful, Baya said. He got on the taxi and went to the police station. She glanced at the time in the car. It was almost 10 o'clock. She closed her eyes and leaned against the seat to rest for a while. Suddenly, the scene of Black holding her hand flashed across her mind. Her heart tightened and she opened her eyes. For some reason she thought of him. She took a deep breath and changed her train of thought. She had long heard that some cults were especially good at brainwashing. She wanted to see for herself. After a while, she arrived at the police station. There was a huge group of people at the entrance. There were 200 special forces officers blocking the entrance. Baya called Joan. I'm at the entrance, but there are a lot of people. I don't think I can get in. Is there a small door? Yes, go southwest. I'll get Shin to find you, Joan said. Baya hung up and went southwest. Shin ran out. Baya, this way. Follow me. I suggest that you manage these people separately. Otherwise, as long as one of them has a strong mind, he can affect everyone, Baya said. All right, but we don't have that many rooms to hold them, Shin said helplessly. I know. How many people have you arrested? Baya asked. 98. Baya nodded thoughtfully. Split them into 5 groups of 20. Send them to the interrogation room. Shin was shocked. But when he thought about Baya's ability, he was convinced. Baya went to the office. Joan was still there. She was frowning. When she saw Baya, she complained, there are too many people this time. Many of them are underage. Their parents are causing a ruckus outside. If we don't get answers today, many of them will be released tomorrow. Yeah, send them to the interrogation room in groups of 20. Give me all their information, Baya said. AI Wei just got all the information. We'll arrange it and give it to you, Shin said. The 20 people in white were sent to the interrogation room. Baya wanted to go in. Be careful. Let Howard and Rue go with you, Joan said. Okay, Baya replied. He walked into the interrogation room and glanced at everyone. They didn't even look at Baya. They were all arrogant. Their eyes were all on the sky. Baya chuckled and said, your parents and family are all outside. Who wants to be released now? As soon as he said that, the people in white's expression loosened. Just release them. No need to talk so much, one of the men said. Baya's sharp gaze swept over. Lock him up alone. As one of the main culprits, he will be held responsible. Don't contact anyone else. The man was taken away. The people in white looked at each other. Some of them were terrified. Baya pulled out a chair and sat down. I'll ask again. Who wants to go back and reunite with their families now? All the people in white looked at each other and didn't say anything. One of the youths walked out. If we say we want to leave, can we leave? You can leave before midnight. Shin put him in the resting room. Lock the others in another room. Let the other group in, Baya said. After the people in white left, she said to Shin, invite the parents of the young man to come in. Monitor everything that happens in the resting room. Let the young man out before midnight. Send 2 people to protect him secretly. Okay. I'll go right away. The people in white entered in groups. Baya's words were the same. Pick 1 or 2 people from each group and lock them up. Let 1 or 2 go home. When they were all done, it was already 11. Baya, what should we do next? Shin asked. Let's go to the place where they're locked up, Baya said. They entered the place where they were locked up. When the people in white saw someone coming, they immediately stood up and looked outside warily. Baya went in and scanned the crowd. I still have 5 places. They can be released before dawn. Who wants to go out? The people in white looked at each other. Someone raised his hand. Me. One after another, people raised their hands. Baya scanned. There were a total of 20 people who raised their hands. Bring those who raised their hands out. I'll talk to them alone. I'll choose 5 people to release, Baya said. She turned around and walked towards the door. Rue followed behind Baya and asked, why did you make such an arrangement? Chapter 772. If they are too firm or too weak, we won't get anything out of them. The best candidates are the 20 that were chosen this time. Among them, there will definitely be something that they want to say. Baya looked at the time. Then, are you going to stay up all night? Shin asked. If Baya stayed up all night, it meant that he had to stay up all night too. Not necessarily. If we're lucky, someone might give us the answer we need. Baya smiled. She was very calm. She went to the office and not the interrogation room. She got someone to install a pinhole camera and played soft and soothing music. Call John and Smith in, Baya said. The people in the surveillance room could hear it. After a while, a boy walked in and looked around anxiously. He saw that Baya was alone and there were no other police officers. The environment was very relaxed. Don't ask me about the white cloth cult. I won't tell you anything, the boy said. Baya smiled. The person who said that from the start was just trying to strengthen his resolve. If his resolve was firm enough, There was no need to strengthen it. Relax. You can choose what you want to say and what you don't want to say. Baya smiled. John sat on the sofa and placed his hands on his knees. He lowered his head and his eyes were locked. Do you know what song I'm playing now? Baya asked. Goodbye, Maria, John said immediately. It's very nice. After listening to it, I feel very calm. I saw your information and it said that you like this song a lot. I found it and it's really nice. John lowered his head again. Baya sat opposite him. You play the piano really well. It's very difficult to get into your school. I heard that you relied on yourself. You're amazing. Did you learn the piano by yourself? No, I started playing the piano when I was 3 years old. When I was 3, let me think. I was still playing in the mud. Did you think that you would be locked up? Baya asked. John's body trembled and he lowered his head in fear. If your school finds out about this, you might be expelled. John tightened his clothes and mumbled something that Baya couldn't understand. Baya smiled, turned around, made a cup of coffee and handed it to him. John stopped nagging and looked at the coffee Baya handed him. Drink some, you'll feel better. If you are released today, the case will not be filed. I can also guarantee that your school will not know about this matter. The decision will always be in your hands, Baya said gently. I won't say anything, John repeated. Baya held her right cheek and looked at Hardadef. You're happy in the white sect, right? Of course. Why? John was silent. Let me understand the white cloth sect. What can I do for you? Don't you want one more person to understand the white cloth sect? Baya said softly. He looked harmless. John looked at Baya. Baya slightly raised a smile. John clenched his fists and was furious. Have you ever been looked down upon? Have you ever been bullied or ostracized? Baya nodded. I was an orphan when I was young. I didn't have money to go to school. When others were having fun, I was working. I was often ostracized and looked down upon. The white cloth sect can help you, John said. How? They'll help you get back at those who bullied you. With the white cloth sect, I'll be strong. No one can bully me and no one will dare to look down on me. John pursed his lips and said hatefully. Then how do I join? Do you really want to join? You're already very powerful. No, you're trying to get information from me. John stood up nervously and added, I won't say anything. Xiao, you recommended me to the white cloth sect, right? Baya asked. John pursed his lips and didn't say anything. He raised his chin and looked at the sky. He looked like he was facing death calmly. Listen to this song first, Baya said gently. Baya said softly. She closed her eyes, leaned on the sofa, and gently tapped the wooden shelf next to the sofa with her fingers. Duck, duck, duck. John listened to the song and his expression loosened. He sat down on the sofa. I don't think John will say anything. Baya is wasting time on him. Someone else should come in and interrogate him, Howard said. The door was pushed open. Gu Lingqing came to the control room. She looked at Baya on the screen and said in a low voice, John has been hypnotized. This is Baya's best hypnosis? Rue stared at the screen and observed every expression on Baya's face. However, Baya just kept her eyes closed. How did she hypnotize him? After the song ended, it was played on a loop. Baya still didn't open her eyes. She said gently, John, this time the white cloth sect killed people and used firearms illegally. They were caught red-handed. Do you think it's over? John looked at Baya in fear. I don't know. The white cloth sect is so strong. Oh. No matter how strong they are, how many of them are there? No matter how strong they are, isn't your leader locked up in jail? If the school finds out that you joined the white cloth sect, what do you think will happen? Baya asked and opened her eyes. Didn't you say that you were going to let me go? 20 of you wanted to leave. Only 5 of you can leave without a criminal record. I gave you the chance in advance. John, please tell me if the school finds out what will happen. Baya's tone became strict. I will be expelled. Those that I beat up will beat me up too. Without the white cloth sect, I have nothing. John held his head. On the contrary, the white cloth sect made you lose everything. On the contrary, it was the white cloth sect that made you lose everything. You lost your confidence, you lost your sense of self. You asked me if I was ever looked down upon or bullied. Yes, but it doesn't matter. It will only make me stronger and stronger. One day, I won't be bullied anymore. As for you, besides being bullied by the people in school, you will also be bullied by the white cloth sect. Chiobai is the best example. No, it's not like that. The white cloth sect is helping us not to be bullied. Chiobai was only bullied by his adoptive mother. But now he was forced to jump off the boat by the white cloth sect. Your friend died. Do you think that the white cloth sect is helping you? No, they just want you to die faster. They want you to become an even more evil demon than those who bullied you. They are harming you, harming your friends, harming people who could have been your friends. John hugged his head tightly and said guiltily, Xiaobai, I'm sorry. Tell me, John. Who is your leader? How many things did he make you do to hurt others? I'm afraid that the white cloth sect will force me to my death like how they forced Xiaobai to his death, John said in a daze. Baiya smiled, the white cloth sect is finished. From today onwards there will be no more white cloth sect. John, do what you think you should do. You want to help Xiaobai. Xiaobai is looking at you from above. Yeah, I'll say. The control room was in an uproar again. Chapter 773. John said a lot. As long as it was a case that he was involved in, he would explain everything clearly. Their leader was called Lay Senator. He used to be a bank employee. Because he was bullied, he stopped the white cloth cult. Instead, he formed an evil force and bullied others. The owner of the ship was a man called Peter. Peter was the first person to follow Lay Senator. Baiya came out of the office. Baiya, you're amazing. You found out who the mastermind was so quickly. With the information we have, we can counterattack, Shin praised. Not necessarily. Peter and Ray Sun shouldn't be the masterminds. They don't have the financial ability to buy a ship. There's an even more powerful force behind them. It's just that no one else knows about this force. Baiya walked towards the surveillance room. Then what should we do? Shin became pessimistic again. Nothing. At least the white cloth cult can be disbanded. Lay Sun won't reveal who the mastermind is, so he has to take the blame. We can take it step by step, Baiya said. She smiled and pushed open the door of the surveillance room. Baiya, you're amazing. You solved the problem so quickly, Rue praised. The problem might not be solved, Baiya said meaningfully. Baiya said meaningfully and looked at Gu Lingqing. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be resting at home? It won't be good if the sadness in your body gets stained or cracks. Gu Lingqing looked at her deeply. He didn't answer her question. Are you going back? Baiya nodded. She looked at the time. It was 11 p.m. She said to Shen, I'll go back first. Release those 20 people before 12 p.m. Okay, I got it. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing. Let's go. Okay. Gu Lingqing walked out. The two of them walked towards the road. They didn't speak. The streetlights gradually lengthened their shadows. Still they didn't speak. Baiya took a deep breath and looked at him. I bought a kennel. Did you see it? Yes, Alan said that you're dating him, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baiya replied. A crack appeared in Gu Lingqing's eyes. She clenched her fists tightly, and her breathing felt cold. She stopped and looked at her. Baiya turned to look at him. What's the matter? Gu Lingqing looked at her faintly, as if he was trying hard to remember her appearance. Many memories flowed through his mind. He had once lost his memory and forgotten about her. Now he could understand her feelings at that time. Despair, sadness and pain, but he couldn't say it out loud. He could only let the pain gnaw at his heart until it devoured everything little by little. When she was with him, she was less happy than sad and more dangerous than safe. She had been wasting time, exhausting herself and enduring loneliness. Now she had completely forgotten about him. She could start a new life, stand at the peak of being worshipped by others, enjoy honor, life and love. She should be able to be happy with Alan. He was jealous, envious and jealous to the point that he was about to go crazy. However, he loved her and he hoped that she could be happy. If she could be happy, what was there for him to be conflicted about? The fog filled his eyes, gathering together and disappearing in the depths of his eyes. Baiya looked at his eyes and felt a little pain in her heart. I knew you in the past, right? Xiaoya, I wish you happiness and I hope that you will be happy too, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Hearing this, she should have smiled, but her heart hurt even more, as if a crack had been torn in her heart and blood was gushing out. The taxi stopped in front of them. Gu Lingqing opened the door of the back seat. Baiya sat in the front passenger seat. He sat in the front passenger seat, looked ahead and said in a low voice, I'll borrow your place for a day today and I'll move out tomorrow. I have people taking care of me, don't worry. Baiya didn't say anything. She still felt heartache and the pain was sour, as if her heart was poisoned. You don't have to rush to move out. You and Alan are already dating. It's not suitable for me to stay at your place. It's just a small injury and I'll be fine in 2 days. Besides, Alan has severe asthma, and it's not suitable for Xiaobai to stay there. You don't have to feel guilty about my injury. If I didn't jump into the sea and meddle in other people's business, I wouldn't have provoked the white cloth cult. Everything was caused by me and it has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry for disappointing you, Gu Lingqing said. Baiye's eyes were red. She was very sad, very sad, very sad, as if someone was hiding in her heart and crying. You haven't answered me. Did we know each other in the past? Baiye continued to ask. We knew each other, but since you've already forgotten me, I think this is what you want to forget, so you don't have to remember it again, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. His eyes were very deep as a serene lake, filled with sadness and despair. She had an urge to cry, but she knew that she shouldn't. She didn't say anything else and looked out of the window. After a while she arrived at the villa. Alan was there and he might be allergic to smoke. She didn't light any incense because it was too late, and she didn't play any music either. She went straight to the bathroom and turned on the water. She stood by the sink in a daze, listening to the sound of the water. She still felt uncomfortable. She took off her clothes and went into the water. She lay on the surface of the pool and closed her eyes. Black's words echoed in her mind. Since you've already forgotten Wenku, I think this is what you want to forget so you don't have to remember it again. She sighed and made a call. Senior, I'm not feeling well. What's wrong? Su Changhe asked with concern. I met someone. He said that I knew him before, but I feel sad when I see him. Gu Lingqing? Su Changhe blurted out. Baiye was stunned. She remembered that Alan said that Black's name was Gu Lingqing. So they all knew Black. What's the relationship between Gu Lingqing and me? Baiye asked. Baiye, are you sure you want to know? Back then you hypnotized yourself to forget him. Are you sure you want to remember him? Su Changhe asked in a low voice. Baiye shuddered. She didn't dare to. Just thinking about this name made her feel extremely sad. That kind of sadness seemed to cover the sky and drown her. Before she hypnotized herself, she had warned her not to open the window to her memory. She was afraid that once she remembered everything, she wouldn't be able to bear the burden and would rather die. No, I don't want to know anymore, Baiye said decisively. Su Changhe sighed. You once said that you want to forget the past and start a happy life again. What you need to do now is not to remember the past, but to work hard to find a happy life now. I've already promised to be with Alan, Baiye said in a low voice. Su Changhe. Chapter 774. Baiye hung up the phone. Happiness? What was happiness? Some people said that happiness was having everything you wanted. Some people said that it was kinship, love, friendship, career, money, and status. She thought that it was idealistic perfection. If having everything was happiness, then most people were unlucky. She didn't think so. She felt that happiness was a feeling of self. People with low levels of satisfaction were more likely to be happy. For example, some people felt that the world was happy just because they had meat for every meal. Some people felt that they were unhappy even though they had meat for every meal. Some people felt that the world was beautiful if they could get a hug from their lover. Some people felt that life was meaningless even if their lover was always by their side. What was her happiness? Actually, she didn't need anyone to take care of her or help her. She was used to living alone. When she was with Alan, she needed to accommodate and change her habits. She needed to avoid things that he couldn't touch. She needed to be restrained and not be able to live as she pleased. She didn't feel happy. When she was with Alan, she just didn't want him to be unlucky. She could accept living with him for the rest of her life. Baiye lay in the bathtub for half an hour. Her whole body was lazy. She stood up and dried herself. She was about to put on her clothes when she saw that the rack was empty. She paused. Before she took a bath, she was in a daze and forgot to take a change of clothes. There were other men staying here. She couldn't walk around naked. She took a towel, wrapped it around her and walked out. Gu Lingqing was pouring water. He looked back at her with a deep gaze. Every time they met, he wanted to look at her one more time. No matter how long he looked at her, he wouldn't get tired of it. Perhaps the next time they parted, it would be forever. When Baiye saw him, she felt a little awkward. I forgot to take my clothes. Yeah, Gu Lingqing replied solemnly. To prevent her from feeling awkward, he turned around and went into his room. Baiye went upstairs and returned to her room. She was not in a hurry to change her clothes. She lay on the bed with a heavy heart. She got up and went to the cupboard to get some clothes. After changing, she lay on the bed again. She was so tired today that she didn't light any incense. She closed her eyes and soon fell asleep. In the haze, she came to an isolated island and saw a man sitting on a reef that was only 1 square meter in size. He looked at her deeply, not saying a word, but there seemed to be thousands of words in his eyes. She slowly walked towards him and saw Gu Lingqing's face. It's you? He still didn't speak. He just looked at her, his eyes gentle. Why aren't you talking? Baya asked again. He still did not speak. What are you trying to say? If you don't say it, how will I know? Baya frowned. Take care. Gu Lingqing said these two words. Baya's heart sank and he opened his eyes. So, it was a dream. Why did she dream of him? She got up, brushed her teeth, and after washing up, she opened the door and smelled the fragrance of eggs. She walked towards the kitchen instinctively. Alan was busy inside. When he saw Baya, he smiled and said, I made egg-fried noodles. Try it. Why are you up so early? Baya smiled and said, 8 o'clock. It's not early anymore. Alan said, oh right, Black left with Xiao by early in the morning. He said thank you for taking care of him in the kennel. He left. Baya murmured. Yeah, when I got up he was already up. Seeing that you were still sleeping, he asked me to tell you to wait at the dining table. I'll make a glass of milk, Alan said brightly. Baya sat at the dining table in a daze. When she sat down, she remembered that she should have watered the plants in the morning. She got up again and went to the garden to water the plants. When she was watering the plants, she felt that there was something she did not do. After thinking about it, she thought that it might be because she did not make breakfast, so she felt that there was something she did not do. After watering the plants, she went back to her room. Alan stood at the door and looked at her with a smile. Tired? Baya shook her head. I'm tired from this. Do you think I'm an old lady who's almost 100 years old? Wash your hands and have breakfast. Alan turned around and went to the kitchen. The noodles he made were already cold. It was just right for summer. Baya ate the noodles quietly. Alan looked at her solemnly. She looked up at Alan and smiled. What's wrong? Are you coming back for lunch? Alan asked gently. Baya nodded. I should be back. I've arranged for patients in the morning and afternoon, but there's still plenty of time. I can accompany you around and see if there's a shop you want. That's not urgent. I'm not as tired as you are. I'll just rest at home like you usually do. Also, I saw some incense. If you like it, you can still light it. Don't change your habits because of me. I'll try my best to adapt to your habits. Baya was very touched. Alan, when two people are together, it's about protecting and accommodating each other. It doesn't matter. Habits can be changed and become another habit. She held his hand. I'll go to work in a while. I'll leave this place to you. All right. I'll open a shop, Alan said with a smile. After Baya finished her breakfast, she left everything to Alan. She drove to the office. When she arrived at the office, the assistant came over with a notebook. Baya, I've received 120 calls these few days. I can't do anything else but take calls. What should I do? These patients, do you want to see them? Baya looked at the notebook and thought of something. She asked the assistant, did someone called Black call? Black, let me see. I think so. The assistant looked at the notebook. I found him. There's this person. What? Do you want to see this patient? Baya took the notebook and looked at the person's caller ID. She dialed the number. Hello. Gu Lingqing's voice came from the other end of the phone. I'm Baya, said Baya. Baya said, taking a deep breath. You came to consult about the medical treatment last time. I'm free at 16 p.m. Do you want to come? Gu Lingqing was silent on the other end. Baya did not hang up the phone. Didn't you say that you don't want to see me? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. I wasn't familiar with you at that time. Now that we've gone through life and death together, our feelings are naturally different. For the sake of our relationship, I should let you see him, Baya said with a smile. Xiaoya, shouted Gu Lingqing. When the two words Xiaoya came out of his mouth, her heart skipped 2 beats. See you in the afternoon, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and hung up the phone. See you in the afternoon, Baya murmured as she looked at the air. If she took good care of Gu Lingqing, she would not feel that she owed him. Chapter 775. After seeing all the patients in the morning, Baya went back for lunch at noon. Alan had prepared the dishes. Cola chicken wings, steak, fish soup, tofu, tomato eggs and lettuce. Did you cook all these? Baya was curious. Is it strange? I have nothing to do in the morning anyway. When you come back, I can have lunch immediately, Alan said with a smile. Looking at the dishes on the table, I'm hungry. Have a try. Baya pinched a chicken wing with her hand and took a bite. Well, it's delicious. Go wash your hands first. Yes. Baya finished the chicken wing in a few bites. She went to wash her hands and came out. Alan came over with 2 bowls of white rice. I wanted to roast the pig's feet, but I'm afraid it won't taste good. I've never cooked such a main dish before. Baya smiled. When I'm free, I'll teach you all my specialties. You can open a restaurant and be a chef. I only want to be your chef. Alan picked up the meat from the fish belly and gave it to Baya. Baya didn't respond to him and continued eating. How was the work in the morning? Alan asked. It was very smooth. This patient has OCD. After seeing him a few times, he's much better. So you don't have to come next week. After all, my fees aren't low, Baya said with a smile. My girlfriend is so capable. I'll wake up laughing even in my dreams. I have an additional patient in the afternoon, so I won't come back early, Baya said. Then, will you come back for dinner tonight? Alan asked. Of course. No matter how tired I am outside, when I come back for dinner, I feel that all my worries are gone. Moreover, it's the prince in the fairy tale who cooks for me, Baya joked. Yes, I want to drag you into the fairy tale world to live with me. The last sentence in the fairy tale world is that from now on, the prince and the princess will live happily ever after. Baya also laughed. It was so comfortable to chat with Alan. I'm free at noon. Shall we go for a walk after lunch? Sure, if you're not afraid of getting tanned. Baya's smile became even brighter. One of the benefits of living in America is that no matter how dark you get from the sun, no one will think that you're black. No matter how white you paint, no one will say that you're white. This is because there are white people and black people. Can I say that your joke is very cold? Alan said bluntly. Then tell me which one isn't cold? Baya picked up a piece of fish and put it on his bowl. She likes fish. Once upon a time, 2 white people gave birth to a black child. Do you know why? Alan asked. Our ancestors are genetically black. Can I say that your joke is even colder? Baya hit him without holding back. It's because the baby didn't bathe. Baya. Alan smiled and rubbed Baya's head lovingly. If I don't say something colder, how can I spend the summer with you? Baya smiled. Don't worry, my house has air conditioning. Let's eat, we'll go out later. Yes. After dinner. Alan and Baya went shopping. Alan held a black umbrella to shield her from the sun. Her phone rang. She saw it was Joan and sighed, I have a feeling that I don't want to do this anymore. Don't do it if you don't want to. Are you afraid that I can't afford you? Alan said. She was just saying it. She did not do it for money. She picked up the phone. Baya, can you come to the police station? Joan asked. What's wrong? Or is it about the white dress sect? Baya asked. No, the white dress sect is basically solved. It's about the corpse in the cage. We've got the latest data, Joan said in a deep voice. The mission here is more than I expected. I don't even have time to breathe, Baya said directly. I'm sorry. After this case is solved, I'll let you rest for a week, Joan said gently. I understand. I'll come to the police station now, but I have 2 patients in the afternoon, so I'll have to leave before 14. Sure. Baya hung up and looked at Alan. It's fine. Go ahead. We'll talk later, Alan said in a good mood. Okay, I'll go to the police station now. See you tonight. Don't cook tonight. Let's eat out, Baya said. Alan nodded. The police station. When Baya arrived, the others were already there. She looked at Gu Lingqing's face. Gu Lingqing did not look at her. He lowered his head and seemed to be in deep thought. You're all here. Shin, tell me in detail. What happened? Joan asked. We checked the last 3 corpses. Strangely, we couldn't find the identities of these 3 people. Ivy hacked into other countries and didn't find these 3 people. In other words, these 3 people don't have any identity information. This doesn't make sense, Shin said. What's the cause of death? Baya asked. They drowned. They took sleeping pills before they died. After falling asleep, they were locked in cages and sealed. Then they were put in a fixed position and died, Shin said. Their ages? Are the 3 of them related by blood? Baya continued to ask. They were about the same age, between 16 and 20. They weren't related by blood. A bunch of people died. They didn't have any identities. Even if they were stowaways, they would have information about their identities. Why did they die? Why did they die so regularly? Who did it? What was their purpose? Was it to satisfy their desire to kill? Rui pondered. Baya narrowed her eyes and asked thoughtfully, Are there any other clues? Male or female? Did they have pierced ears? Are there any special marks on their bodies? Are there any special marks on their clothes? Are there any old wounds on their bodies? I'll send you the detailed information. Shin sent each of them a document, including the forensic doctor's explanation. These people didn't have jewelry on them and they had many old wounds. Nobody called the police when they died and nobody identified them. They didn't even have IDs. If I'm not wrong, they were kidnapped when they were young and locked up on an island. They were trained for a long time and they died because they weren't as good as the organization, Baya guessed. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. I think that's reasonable. What should we do next? Shen asked. Don't send the pictures yet. If they know, it'll be harder for us to catch them. Let's compare all the missing children's cases and find out the identities of the 3 victims. Also, they could have just sunk the bodies anywhere. Why did they have to put them in one place? I suggest we use satellites to follow them closely. Maybe we'll find their nest soon, Baya suggested. That makes sense. Let's do that first. Rui, write me a document. I'll apply for satellite support, Joan said. Chapter 776. Baya and Lei Senator, we need you to interrogate Lei Sen, Xiong said. Baya smiled. As for Lei Sen, just let Rui interrogate him. He'll take full responsibility. But we feel that Lei Sen doesn't have the financial ability to buy a ship. So there must be someone else behind the White Cloth sect, Rui said. Even if there is someone else, Lei Sen won't say anything. He has a strong will. He'll say it's the director or the governor. It's just a waste of time, Baya said. You haven't seen him yet. How do you know? Shen asked. Baya sighed. You'll know after you interrogate him. I really can't do anything to him. Are you going to let the mastermind get away with it? Rui said angrily. Baya was very calm. There are many unfair things in this world. The more capable you are, the higher your salary. The more capable you are, the more money you earn. You can't get whatever you want just because you're good at everything. We've already found Lei Sen, solved the crisis, and disbanded the White Cloth sect. This is already a great reward. If you ask for more, things will go in the opposite direction. After Baya said a few words, Rui's originally angry face also calmed down. Indeed, this was how the world was. You couldn't just do whatever you wanted. Baya turned and walked out. Gu Lingqing thought for a moment and followed behind her. I didn't drive here. Can I take your car to my clinic? Baya said politely. Gu Lingqing looked at her peaceful face and nodded. Baya smiled brightly. Thank you. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything and walked towards his car. Baya got into his car and fastened the safety rope on herself. She asked, Where are you and Xiaobai going? Are you going back to the ship? I rented a house, Gu Lingqing said calmly. She looked ahead and didn't want to talk anymore. Baya didn't say anything either. She closed her eyes and rested. Gu Lingqing looked at her, his eyes dark. Then he drove to the basement of the clinic. The car stopped and Baya opened her eyes. She took a nap and felt much better. She looked at the time. It was only 13:30. I have an appointment with a patient at 15. I think you can get in front of that patient, Baya said gently. Gu Lingqing replied and got out of the car. He followed Baya into Baya's office. Baya gave him a glass of water. He guessed that the water was drugged, so he raised his glass and drank all the water. Baya smiled and turned on some soft music. Sit on the sofa. It's more comfortable. You can lie down on it. Gu Lingqing lay down on the sofa and looked at the white ceiling. His eyes were filled with obscurity. What do you think is wrong with you? Why do you need to see a psychiatrist? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing sat up and looked at her. Do you think you're living a happy life now? Baya was stunned. She nodded and smiled. I'm fine. I can watch the leaves fall in the garden and the clouds roll by. I don't have any pressure from work or life. I have good interpersonal relationships. I should be considered a happy person. That's good, Baya. Gu Lingqing took a deep breath and made up her mind. She said, Help me hypnotize me too. Let me forget everything I want to forget. Mission, feelings, and from now on I can watch the leaves fall in the garden and the clouds roll by. She didn't know why, but she felt a tight feeling in her heart. Hypnosis requires you to cooperate with your subconscious. I will enter your subconscious, but you have to close the window of your memory. The success rate is only 5%. Can the success rate be increased through continuous hypnosis? Gu Lingqing asked. Yes, but it can only be increased to 10%. You need to have a strong will to forget. There are many uncertain factors, Baya reminded. Gu Lingqing raised the corner of her mouth and looked at Baya deeply. So, she had such a strong will to forget him. He didn't need to pester her anymore. Forget it all. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. What's the name of the person you want to forget? Baya asked. Baya, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Baya's heart skipped a beat. There was a very strange feeling, so much so that she was in a trance for a moment. I want to forget all the memories about you. Nothing is left, Gu Lingqing continued. There's a problem. In your memories there might be people who are related to you, such as your parents and friends. If you don't want to remember the past, it's best not to meet these people. Can you do that? Baya reminded. Gu Lingqing looked down. I have 2 children with her. I want to keep the children by my side. Look, can you create a message in my memory to let me believe that the children's mother has passed away? Baiye's breathing quickened. There are children between the 2 of you? Gu Lingqing smiled faintly. There's gain and loss, there's gain and there's loss. These are your favorite words. Baiye's heart was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. It was as if a huge rock was suddenly pressing on her. Her emotions were a little dazed. If the person you want to hypnotize is me, it's not suitable for me to help you. It's equivalent to reminding you from time to time. This way the success rate of hypnosis will be lower. My senior is coming to America soon. He should be able to help you. When he comes, I'll ask him to hypnotize you. Is that okay? Okay. Gu Lingqing stood up and walked towards the door. She didn't even look at her. Her cold expression disappeared. Baiye seemed to have lost her strength. She sat on the chair. She and Gu Lingqing actually had a child. She didn't understand. She had compassion for other people's children. Why was she so cruel to her own child? She didn't understand. She picked up her phone and dialed Su Changhe's number. Su Changhe was woken up by the noise. Baiye, do you know what time it is here? I'm sorry. I have something to ask you, Baiye said. Wait, I'll go wash my face and wake up, Su Changhe said. Baiye didn't hang up. She heard the sound of water on Su Changhe's side. It was the sound of the toilet flushing. She waited and didn't hang up. Su Changhe was done. Say it. Do you know why I hypnotized myself? Baiye asked. You still can't let it go? I want to know the reason, Baiye said. Su Changhe sighed. Actually, I don't know either. One day you came to me and said that you wanted to forget about Gu Lingqing and start a new life. You looked very determined at that time. After the hypnosis you went to America alone. I have a child with Gu Lingqing? Baiye asked again. Chapter 777. Before you hypnotized him, your husband had already been dead for 1.5 years, Su Changhe said. Baiye frowned. What do you mean by that? Gu Lingqing was shot in the back of his head. There was even a funeral. After that, you disappeared. When you came back, you asked me to hypnotize you. However, after you went back to America, there were rumors saying that Gu Lingqing wasn't actually dead. You know your personality. You don't want others to know about you, so I don't know much, Su Changhe explained. You mean that I couldn't stand Gu Lingqing's death, so I hypnotized myself? Baiye frowned suspiciously. That's what I suspect. Your husband's death was a huge blow to you. Because of Gu Lingqing's death, you were once in the political arena of country A. The former president Xin Yan was your friend, and the later president Xing Buhua was your husband's brother. You became a legend in the political arena. You fought against Sheng Dongqing and defeated Li Yichun. These 2 people were 2 of the big 3 and the other one was your husband, Gu Lingqing. Baiye looked ahead absent-mindedly. I don't remember any of these. You must have blocked all possible information about Gu Lingqing to prevent yourself from thinking about him. Do you remember Su Jiran? Su Jiran? Baiye thought for a while. I don't remember. Who is he? Your ex-husband, Baiye. You're really cruel. In order to forget Gu Lingqing, you forgot everyone related to him. Your memory only retained the memory of the time when he wasn't around. Su Changhe sighed. Gu Lingqing came to find me, Baiye said. As long as he's alive, he'll definitely find you. After all, you're his wife and you have 2 children. He said that I can't help him if he wants to erase my memory, so he needs your help, Baiye said calmly. Do you really want me to hypnotize his memory? If he forgets you too, it'll be impossible for you 2 to be together. What about your child? Su Changhe was worried. Ever since he had a child, he'd missed his child a lot. Gu Lingqing said that he'll take it with him. He'll just hypnotize his subconscious and make him think that the child's mother is dead, Baiye said. Her heart was inexplicably twisted. Then he's better than you. You gave up everything to forget him, including responsibility. I will go back to America next week. At that time, I will give it a try. You know, my hypnosis is far worse than yours. Most of your hypnosis is because you hypnotize yourself, Su Changhe said gloomily. Baiye hung up and recalled what Su said. She shouldn't be such an irresponsible person. Why would she hypnotize herself? Her head hurt a little. She lay on the sofa and closed her eyes. She didn't think about anything and just wanted to have a good rest. The phone rang. She opened her eyes, got up, walked to the table and picked up the landline. Dr. Bai, Mr. Harry is here. The assistant called. Well, let him come in 5 minutes. Baiye opened the window and let the fresh air in, blowing away the smell left by others. Suddenly she thought of Gu Lingqing again. Her heart felt sour and bitter, and she didn't feel very comfortable. Many people are arrogant and never bow their heads. Dignity is above everything. As long as the other party says to break up, no matter how painful it is, they will pretend to agree indifferently. No matter whether the other party says that breaking up is just a test, they have missed the most suitable one. A person's heart could not withstand testing, and feelings could not withstand waiting. Love had always been instantaneous, like a flash in the pan. What was more long-term was the management of feelings, the sacrifice of protection, tolerance, and wherein living together for a lifetime until they were old was already the longest confession. She and Alan skipped love. There was only the management of feelings. She was confident that she could manage it well. Why didn't she manage it well with Gu Lingqing? Was it because she loved him too much? There was a knock on the door. Baya came to her senses and found that her face was wet. She was not a person who liked to cry. Her heart was not as soft as ordinary people. Why would she cry? She took a tissue and wiped her tears. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath to ease her emotions. Then she said, "Come in." A beautiful Asian girl walked in. Her face was pale and her eyes were full of sadness. At a glance, she could feel her sadness and decadence. "It seems that you are not better," Baya said softly. The girl's tears flowed down instantly. "I know my parents are worried about me, but I really can't let it go. He is going to marry another woman soon. I would rather die in front of him. I want him to remember me for the rest of his life." Baya habitually poured a glass of water for the patient and placed it in front of the girl. "What do you think you will get after you die? Do you really think he will remember you? Or will he always love you? If you die, you won't see anything. If you don't see him change his mind, if you don't see your happiness, if you don't see everything you want, you will leave with resentment." "But my heart hurts. I can't sleep every night. I can't breathe when I think of him. I want to go and ask him why he married someone else," the girl said anxiously. "Then go and ask him?" He turned off his phone and went abroad with that girl. "I couldn't find him no matter how hard I tried. Even if I killed myself, he didn't come back to see me." The girl was sad. "Everything you did was to make him stay. But if you don't cherish yourself, others won't cherish you either. Your actions will only become something he can brag about in the future. There was a girl who committed suicide for him. If he had even the slightest bit of love for you, he would have appeared when you committed suicide, but he didn't. Perhaps he turned off his phone and traveled abroad with that girl to avoid you. In other words, your actions annoyed him and he would only hate you. Even if you committed suicide in front of him, he would only loathe and hate you. It's better than him forgetting me. I want him to remember me and hate me. This hatred and disgust will disappear when you die. Are you sure you want to choose death?" Baya asked again. The girl didn't say anything. Her tears flowed down. "If you want to get him back, you have to become a better version of yourself. Every day you have to work hard to become better. Don't let yourself become worse and worse. That will only make him leave you. If you want to take revenge on him, find a better man and live a happier life. Anything else won't do you any good. It will only make you feel inferior, insignificant, despicable, and lowly," Baya said sharply. The girl looked at Baya with red eyes. "Have you ever loved someone? Do you know what it feels like to love someone? Do you know what it feels like to be abandoned?" Baya looked at the girl's uneasy expression and smiled. "I loved someone before. I loved him so much that I hypnotized myself and completely forgot about him." Chapter 778. The girl was shocked. "You've completely forgotten about him?" "What?" Baya smiled. "I don't remember." The girl was stunned again. She looked at Baya quietly. Baya also looked back at her quietly. "If I want to forget him, how much would it cost?" The girl asked with hope. "I won't charge you. But it's not easy to hypnotize someone. The success rate is only 5%. I want to try. I'm in too much pain now. I don't want to remember him anymore. I want to start a new life," the girl said emotionally. "You need to discuss it with your parents. Come and find me after that," Baya said. The girl immediately rushed out of the treatment room. Baya picked up a glass of water and poured herself a glass. She was in a daze today. She was not in the mood to see the patient. She called Su Changhe again. Su Changhe picked up the phone. He had already woken up, so he was very calm. "You want to ask about Gu Lingqing again, right? Did he hurt me? Did he have another woman?" Baya asked. "His personality is very cold. He doesn't like to talk. No woman can get close to him. So your hypothesis is impossible. Baya, do you want to recover your memory now?" Su Changhe asked. Baya's heart beat faster. "I don't know. You have to know that indecisiveness will increase your mental stress. Insomnia, distress, discomfort. Over time your mind will collapse. The longer you delay, the more stress you will feel. Think carefully. You know what to do to recover your memory, Xianxia warned her. Baya knew that what he said was right. However, sometimes the rational mind was clear but the actions were involuntary. I understand. Thank you, senior. Baya hung up the phone and went home early. Alan was not at home. She went back to her room, lit some incense and played some beautiful music. Lying on the bed, she closed her eyes and was quiet. When she thought of Gu Lingqing's gaze, her heart ached faintly and she opened her eyes again. Just what was it that caused her heart to ache so much? Whenever she thought of this person she would feel sorrow. If she hadn't been so badly hurt, she wouldn't have tried to hypnotize herself. Now Gu Lingqing also decided to be hypnotized. From then on, they would erase each other's memories and start anew. But why did her heart hurt so much? It hurt so much that tears kept flowing out. It shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this. There was a knock on the door. Xiaoya, you're back? Alan's voice came from outside. Baya wiped her tears. I'm here. I've lit some incense. Don't come in. She got up and went to the bathroom to wash her face. She saw her phone's red eyes in the mirror and closed them for a while. When the blood vessels disappeared, she opened the door. I went out to buy some fruits. As soon as I entered, I heard the music in your room. You're back so early, Alan said with a smile. One of my patients had some matters to attend to today, so he left early. I'm going out to buy some flowers to plant. You can rest at home for a while. We'll go out for dinner tonight, Baya said with a smile. She wasn't the kind of person who liked to show sadness on her face. Alan hugged Baya's waist and pulled her in front of him. He looked down at her and said in a reserved manner, Xiaoya, can we stay together tonight? Baya's body stiffened and her back straightened. She had never thought about this question. Her eyes were filled with panic. She was an adult. As Alan's girlfriend, it was normal for them to have a relationship. However, she didn't want to or even think about having a relationship between them. Alan. Baya called his name and looked up at him. Alan pursed his lips and didn't respond to her, but his eyes turned cold. He could tell that she didn't want to, but he wanted to force her. Only when she was willing and had sex could their relationship be stable. Isn't it too soon? Baya said and pulled her hand away. How could it be? We've known each other for more than 2 years. I don't think it's too soon. In fact, I've been waiting for a long time. Whether I want to have a relationship with you or you want to never have a relationship with me for the rest of your life, I have normal needs. Not to mention it's for the woman I love, Alan said in a deep voice. Alan, I'm sorry. I thought that with our personalities, we could live happily for the rest of our lives, but I'm afraid I can't even do the most basic thing. You can't do it because you don't like me, or because you still have hope for him in your heart? Alan asked. I don't want to, Baya said. Every time she thought of having that kind of relationship with Alan, all the cells in her body were resisting. I don't want to go against my will. You and I might never have that kind of relationship, so I'm not suitable for you. What if Gu Lingqing wants to have a relationship with you? Do you want to or not? I don't want to answer such a hypothetical question. You still haven't forgotten him. You still have hope for him. You still love him. Xiaoya, if you still love him, then go find him. Don't wrong yourself, don't suppress yourself. Even if you're destroyed, you have to burn brightly. I'm willing to return to being a good friend, Alan said with a smile. Baya's eyes turned red. Alan. Alan smiled. I think after this I can completely give up on you. You don't want to have a relationship with me because you have someone else in your heart, and that person is Gu Lingqing. How much do you know about me and him? Baya was confused. She didn't know if what Alan said was true or not, but she was sure that she didn't even want to have a relationship with Alan, let alone others. She would probably always be alone. I don't know much. When I met you, you were already his wife. At that time, when he was chasing you, you only had him in your heart. After he died, you still only had him in your heart. I knew that you had hypnotized yourself. I thought I had a chance, but it seems like you still only have him in your heart. Xiaoya, don't torture yourself. Go find him, Alan said generously and smiled. Thank you, Alan. No matter what, you're always thinking about me. Alan said, I like you because of your infatuation. If I have to blame something, I can only blame myself for knowing you too late. If I still have a life, I must meet you again, and before Gu Lingqing finds you. Don't let this life go to waste. There are many good women in this world. You will definitely find one, Baya said sincerely. Yeah, I'll leave tomorrow morning. In the future, I'll try my best to find my happiness. You and Gu Lingqing must live well. Don't let me down today. We both have to live well. Alan laughed. Of course we have to live well. If you really die of anger because of Gu Lingqing one day, you'll come looking for me. I won't come looking for you. Don't hold on to that hope. It's impossible, Baya said resolutely. She really hoped that he could find his happiness. Yeah, Alan replied. He took a deep breath. I feel good being friends again. Chapter 779. Baya felt much better. She and Alan were still suitable to be friends. They were unrestrained, free to come and go, to protect each other and be friends for life. She did not agree to be with him and was too embarrassed to ask him to stay. England was his world. Rest for a while. I'll go out and buy some flowers. Alan smiled. It's the last meal. I want to eat what you cook. How can it be the last meal? You can come anytime. I welcome you anytime. If you bring your wife and children, I welcome you too. You know, you are more than a friend to me, Baya said seriously. Alan smiled. Then I'll try my best to bring my beloved daughter here for dinner next year. Then I'll learn how to cook for my wife. Okay. I'll go buy some vegetables now. Baya took the car keys and went out. She turned on 2 street lights and waited for the red light. She heard the screams of the people outside and looked out the window. There was a girl standing on the roof. Her head was hanging down and only her long hair could be seen. She looked at the time with her arms crossed and jumped down before the ambulance arrived. It was the 17th floor. Jumping from the top floor would mean certain death. Moreover, the girl did not hesitate. She only stood for a short minute. Even if someone called the police would not be able to arrive in time. So, she came with the determination to die. Beep beep beep. The car behind urged. Baya saw that the light was green. She drove away. After all, she could do nothing if someone died. She did not like to watch the commotion. Soon she arrived at the market. Perhaps because she came too early, there were not many farmers there. She went to the farm and bought a turkey. She asked the boss to take care of it for her. The farm boss planted a lot of vegetables and asked her to pick them herself. She picked a big bag of tomatoes. She liked the feeling of freshness when they were freshly picked. She also picked a big winter melon, some cucumbers, some mushrooms and some green vegetables. When she rushed back, it was only past 16 in the afternoon. There was enough time to cook. Alan came in to help her wash the vegetables. She went to the yard to catch a fish. Time was peaceful and cooking a meal was also a very happy thing. Watching raw and cold ingredients turn into steaming hot delicious food was also a very happy thing. When everything was done, it was already 6:00 p.m. Baya opened a bottle of red wine and poured it for Alan. He swirled the wine glass. Are you going to see Gu Lingqing? Baya shook his head. You know my personality. I'm very passive. Alan laughed. You're not being passive. You're being stubborn. Baya smiled bitterly, took a sip and looked at the red liquid. Actually, I believe in fate. If it's meant to be, it will be. If it's not meant to be, don't force it. Although I don't know why Gu Lingqing and I separated and why I hypnotized myself, I vaguely felt that it was our fate. Maybe when you look for him this time, your lives will be together, never to be separated again. I'm afraid, Baya said. In front of Alan she did not need to hold back, nor did she need to be fake. You know, it's very difficult to hypnotize a person's subconscious to make them forget a person. Self-hypnosis is even more difficult because the subconscious will tell oneself that it's hypnosis. It's so difficult that I even forgot about him. You can imagine how much pain I felt at that time. Xianxia, people have to look forward, not backward. If you forget, forget. You can fall in love with him again and then forget everything in the past. Don't think about it, Alan advised. I'm afraid that one day I'll suddenly remember everything. If that happens, I'll still be in pain. Whenever I think of him now, my heart hurts. It hurts because you still love and care. If it doesn't hurt, it means that you don't care. Since you care, you don't know what the future will be like. Why not try? At most, you'll just return to being a normal person. It's not a big deal. Alan chuckled. That's what I thought, so I confess to you. Baya remained silent and did not say anything. Alan chuckled again. The corners of his mouth were still curled up. After the confession, if it fails, we'll still be good friends. Not only did I not lose anything, but it also made me not have any other thoughts. I think it's a good thing. Baya raised her glass and drank another big glass of wine. I still need to think about it. Alan did not say anything else. This turkey is delicious, but I actually prefer to eat chickens. The people here like to eat turkey. When you come next time, I'll make beggar's chicken for you. It should be more to your taste, Baya said with a smile. Okay. After the meal, Baya was a little drunk. She went back to her room to sleep. Alan looked at Baya's lonely back and smiled slightly. He really hoped to see her happy. More than anything, he hoped that someone could take care of her, even if that person was not him. Now it could not be him. He took out his phone and dialed Gu Lingqing's number. "Hello, who is this?" Gu Lingqing's slightly cold, and emotionless voice came from the other end of the phone. "Hello, I'm Alan," Alan said with a smile. Gu Lingqing was silent for a moment. "Take good care of her." "I'm afraid I can't do it. We broke up a few hours ago. I think this is the shortest time I've ever been in a relationship. It was only a day and we didn't even kiss." "Why?" Gu Lingqing was puzzled and worried at the same time. "If you want to let her down, you shouldn't have started. I asked to have sex with her but she rejected me. Her heart can't accommodate other men, only you," Alan said with a smile. He was a little sad. However, losing to Gu Lingqing was nothing to be ashamed of. Gu Lingqing did not say anything on the other end. "You know Xiaoya's personality better than me. She has always been passive and sensitive, and she doesn't want to hurt others. Once there's a little trouble, she won't fight for it, but force herself to give up. However, in her heart she loves you. I'm leaving tomorrow. Can you take good care of Xiaoya?" Alan asked. Gu Lingqing continued to be silent on the other end. "You're even less talkative than Xiaoya. How can I let her go?" Alan said helplessly. "Alan, thank you," Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. "What are you thanking me for? Yesterday Xiaoya said that she believes in fate. I believe that she has you in her life. Otherwise, you wouldn't always appear when I want to be with her. Perhaps this is also God's arrangement. I just hope that you won't hurt her," Alan said with a smile. "What time is your flight tomorrow? I'll send you." Chapter 780. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. "You didn't take it seriously, did you? You're not good with words and you're unpredictable. I don't know what Xiaoya likes about you. Is silence golden?" Alan continued to joke. Gu Lingqing didn't say anything. Alan sighed. "You don't have to send me tomorrow. I don't feel comfortable when I see you. It's good to come alone and leave alone. I didn't gain anything and I didn't lose anything. Good night. Have a good mood." Gu Lingqing responded in a deep voice. Alan felt that Gu Lingqing really made him uncomfortable. When he said he was in a good mood, Gu Lingqing would just ignore him. He wouldn't stoop to his level. He hung up the phone and walked upstairs slowly. He would have a good sleep and leave early the next morning. Baya woke up early. She looked at her phone out of habit. It was 6:20 am. She brushed her teeth and washed up before going downstairs. She saw a note on the coffee table and took it out to read. It was written by Alan. "I'm afraid that I won't be able to leave when I see you. I want to trouble you for a few more days and eat a few more meals with you. So, I left early in the morning. I think it's cool to do that. In fact, I can do better. I'll bring my wife to see you next time." Alan even drew a smiley face before he left. Baya smiled. Alan was a person who didn't want to cause trouble or make people worry. He was actually very rational. He was so rational that he knew what he should do. He was also a person who made people feel at ease. She called Alan. Alan picked up the call. "You're up early." "Yeah, what time is your flight?" Baya asked. 6:50 am. "It's too late for you to come now. I'm eating breakfast now. Don't forget to eat too." "Your body is your own," Alan reminded her. "Have a safe trip. I look forward to you bringing your girlfriend to see me soon," Baya said with a smile. "Same here." "All right, I'm going to have breakfast. Bye." Alan hung up the phone. Baya took a deep breath. It had been lively for a few days, but today, it was deserted again. She was the only one left. She habitually lit the aromatherapy and played beautiful music. She made breakfast first, then went out to water the flowers and feed the fish in the pond. She went back to relax, fried a poached egg, took out the kimchi she made a long time ago from the fridge, ate some porridge and went out. She went to the cauliflower shop to buy fresh flowers and redecorated the room. Taking a deep breath, she could smell the scent of nature. Her appointment today was at 10 o'clock, so she could spend more time at home. Lying on the sofa, she took out a poetry book and flipped through it. The phone rang. She sighed. The person who would call at this time was most likely the police station. She picked up the call when she saw that it was indeed Joan. "Baya, when are you free today?" Joan asked. "I have a patient at 10 o'clock in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. I'm afraid I'll be very busy today," Baya said. "Look, can you spare some time to come here?" "There's a tricky case here," Joan said in a friendly tone. "Can I take a break this weekend?" "I want to have a good rest," Baya said helplessly. "It's Friday today. If you can finish the case today, you can take a break this weekend." "I won't arrange any new cases for you," Joan promised. Baya looked at the time. "I'm free at noon." Sure, I'll ask them to come at noon. Lunch is on me, Joan said. Baya could not read calmly after receiving the case. She went to the kitchen and saw that there was still a lot of rice. She made 5 servings of sushi and put them in a disposable box. Then she took out a bottle of hoisin sauce from the fridge and put it in a bag. After she was done, she went to work. Then she put the bag in the fridge. Dr. Bai, the patient from yesterday, said that she wants to be hypnotized. When are you free? The assistant asked. Did her parents agree? Baya asked. Yes. I'm free on Wednesday afternoon. You can arrange it for next Wednesday at 14 o'clock, Baya said. Huh. That's a long wait. The assistant did not understand. Baya smiled. They can only think clearly after a long time. Maybe they will have a different answer. All right, I've learned. Baya went into the treatment room and looked at the patient's information. The patient from last week has been cured and left. This is my first time seeing this patient. He's a 62-year-old man named Zhou Xiang. His psychological problem is that he steals out of habit. The old man is from country A. He comes from a good family and lives in America with his son. His son does international trade and his company is quite big. He lives in a $30 million villa. However, this old man has seen 25 psychiatrists. Baya smiled. After looking at the information, he could roughly guess a few reasons. The old man pushed the door open and entered. He didn't even knock and sat on the sofa. Baya looked at him. His hair was already white. He was wearing a flowery shirt, beach pants, slippers, a gold necklace, a Patek Philippe watch, an emerald ring and a large emerald thumb ring. Baya smiled. What are you smiling at? Do you think you look good when you smile? I think your smile is very fake. Don't think that I don't know that when you smile you're trying to cheat money, the old man said unkindly. Baya chuckled. He stood up and poured a glass of water for the old man. The old man was confused. How much is this glass of water? This glass of water is free, Baya said politely. Don't think that I don't know that this money is included in the consultation fee. Wool comes from the sheep's back. I won't drink it. The old man pushed Baya's hand away. Baya didn't lower herself to his level. She placed the glass on the table. She sat opposite him and said, according to the information, you often steal things. You guys are just here to chat. I'm not happy to talk to you guys. Don't even think about earning money from my son, the old man said stubbornly. Actually, when you walk in, even if you don't say anything, you'll still have to pay for it, Baya said. The old man immediately stood up and walked towards the door. Baya said calmly, it's the same if you talk to me for an hour or for a minute. The old man stopped, turned around and sat back on the sofa. What do you want to talk about? I don't like you. I'll tell my son later that you're just fishing for fame and you don't know anything. You're not even as good as the psychiatrist I saw last time. I want to see that psychiatrist,